Greetings everyone, welcome back to Blade Bias. Well, maybe not exactly welcome back yet, but I wanted to dedicate a video just to sit down and talk, because it feels like it's been so long since we've done that. It feels like it's been so long since I've had the energy to do that. And as much as I and the people who are lending me these ballad songs probably really would like me to make my follow-up videos on all of this stuff, so I can send the stuff back to the original owners, I'm just not ready to do that yet. And if I know anything, you can't rush art. If I know something completely unrelated, it's that you also can't rush a Blade Bias video, because to call this art would be extremely, extremely narcissistic. And even I am not that egotistical. But I wanted to take a day to kind of sit down and say what's been going on, because I think it's been no secret that the Blade Bias channel has been in a bit of a rough spot for a little while now. I used to pride myself on producing some of, if not the most consistent ballad song content in the community for a while. And while we did do that, the past month it has been almost impossible for me to do that. And I learned that that was both my fault and not my fault, because the past month has been huge in terms of changes in my life. So I want to just quickly go over them. We can have a little chat, give you guys a window, be a little transparent into what's been going on, and I can kind of tell you what the future is going to look like, because thankfully, one very key thing has changed the future of this channel quite drastically. I'm really happy to say that this video would have been very different if a very key thing didn't happen in the past month. So, about a month ago, it's almost exactly a month at this point. I think it's 3 weeks or something like that. Oh gosh, that's going to happen a lot, isn't it? I made a change in my life. I got a job. I've been looking for an internship for my schooling for a while, and I finally got one. Unfortunately for me, it came very quickly, more quick than I was able to find a place to stay. So I had an extremely long commute back and forth to my job every single day at the end of August, which is kind of why everything didn't go back to normal after that little break that I took. I did take like 2 weeks off of Blade Bias just because I needed a break. But things didn't go back to normal after that because I had a huge commute, and I got home really late. I would eat food and I would go to bed, and that was basically my life for like 2 weeks until I got the apartment that we're at right now. Now, fortunately for me, this is much closer to my job. Unfortunately for me, the tiredness didn't really go away, and I found that over the course of the time that I was working at the new job, I was getting increasingly more exhausted, despite the fact that this job wasn't stressful or even super demanding in any way. I'm not going and lifting 50-pound crates for 8 hours a day. I'm sitting in an office chair doing minimal work, if I'm being completely honest. So I was really, really confused why I would come home every single day, sit on the couch and watch a YouTube video, fall asleep for 3 to 4 hours, wake up, still not be satisfied with how much sleep I had, get in the shower, and go to bed. And that was basically my days for like a really long time. And when you're moving into a new apartment, that's kind of not a great thing to do. You might notice everything is still kind of a mess over here because I still haven't had a proper day to sit down and get everything sorted. Now, granted, I've got things sorted in other areas. You have to buy a lot of stuff when, as I've learned, when you're living on your own for the first time. Truly on your own, no roommates. In case you didn't know, the old apartment, there were 4 roommates. It was a 4-bedroom apartment. You just didn't have to interact with them too much, so I was still able to do videos like this without you guys knowing that I was in a situation like that. This is truly my own apartment in every way, shape, or form. But I still just couldn't figure out why I was so tired. And I was having plenty of other symptoms too, like waking up extremely hot in the middle of the night or feeling sick. You guys might notice that I've been saying at the beginning of these videos, I'm somehow still sick and my apartment is somehow still a mess. And what it turns out is that, yes, I actually was sick that whole time. I came down with a little something called mono, or as they call it, the kissing disease. Checkmate, virgins. No, but seriously, they actually call it the kissing disease. It's a virus that transfers through people's saliva. So, not exactly kissing, but sharing, a drink or a utensil or anything like that. And unfortunately, the symptoms list, while lasting over a month, include things like extreme fatigue, night sweats, swollen lymph nodes, muscle weakness, fever, sore throat, headache, body aches, all this stuff. So, unknowing to me, I got this diagnosed, gosh, it's been maybe 4 days now since my mom was like, you need to go to an urgent care and get some of this stuff checked out, because I noticed I had these swollen lymph nodes. There's going to be a podcast that's coming out with me and Brandon that I recorded before this job started. Or maybe it was right around the time. It was actually right around the time this job started. And you'll notice towards the end, I kind of touch my neck a lot. That is me discovering my swollen lymph nodes in real time, not knowing what they were and being extremely concerned about them. So keep a little eye out for that Easter egg. That was a fun one to discover on camera. Turns out they're fine. I just had a month-long sickness called mono that still isn't exactly back to normal. I think I still have like a week left. And even beyond that, the exhaustion could last another month. So it hasn't really been great. So hopefully you can understand a little bit about why I haven't uploaded. Because it actually affected my hobby work so much more than I thought. I said at the beginning of the video that this could have been a lot different if a very key thing didn't happen in the past month. If I didn't get that diagnosis, I was almost sure that a video coming very soon, maybe even within the next month or so, was going to be me making a formal announcement that I was going to wind things down. I initially thought that this job would give me more opportunities to have a better balance of actually working on maybe even main channel YouTube videos than being on summer break would. Summer break, you just want to spend all your time having fun, doing whatever you want to do. I was hoping this internship would give me a little bit more responsibility so I would actually sit down and work on stuff. So far, that hasn't been the case, and I thought that's just how my life was going to be. I thought that was literally just how everything was going to go. So I was like, I think it might be time to throw in the towel. I was genuinely getting almost annoyed with some of the stuff going on in the Balisong community. The stuff was just really weighing on me. There was all this drama and all this stuff you would see on Instagram that I was like, man, I just don't want to be a part of this anymore. Thankfully now I'm learning it was literally just me being irritated because I was sick unknowingly for almost a month. Which means that my interest is actually starting to come back. I actually feel like I have a lot more energy in this video than some of the previous ones that I've recorded. Not enough, because those symptoms, like I said, are still here and will still be for another week or so, maybe even longer. But I can already feel my interest in everything coming back. You might notice on my desk there's nothing. I haven't touched Balisongs almost at all. I don't really flip in my free time, or I didn't, because I spent all my time sleeping or sitting on the couch watching a YouTube video or something like that. And even sitting on the couch watching a YouTube video, I didn't do that much. So while I'm not ready to say that everything's going to go back to normal just yet, I am willing to say that things will go semi back to normal soon. But I think it's also a good time to announce that things will look a little different. Because the reality is that while I'm not completely sick of the Balisong hobby like I thought I was, I am getting extremely, extremely burnt out on head-mounted videos. Not making them so much, because I still love unboxing a new knife and trying to figure it out like the puzzle pieces that it is, but watching them. I'm getting so sick of everything in the Balisong hobby being head-mounted content, and I kind of want to start pushing my time a little towards making not that. It's a little difficult to criticize, to say something like, I don't like how much head-mounted content is in the Balisong community, when I was previously one of the largest and most consistent sources of it. You can see the hypocrisy there. So I want to push my time into making a little more high effort Balisong content. And while, like a lot of things that I promised in the past, I'm sure this will just be something that I say and never really do any work on, I hope once I feel back to normal on everything, that this actually will happen. So, while I'm not quitting Blade Bias by any means, or quitting head-mounted videos, because it's still an extremely efficient, fun way for me to talk about new knives that people want to send me, the amount of them I think is definitely going to go down. I think it would be difficult for me to sit here in front of you guys and say that going back to the every other day upload schedule consistently is going to return in the near future. I think it would be difficult for me to say that and be 100% honest, because the reality is that just isn't sustainable long term with this new schedule that I picked up, while also trying to put some time into longer form content, hopefully like I want to in the future. So again, while I'm not discontinuing this channel by any means, I think the occasional skipped upload, or the occasional multiple skipped uploads, or maybe even the introduction of, once every 3 days or once every 4 days, is going to be something that happens in the future, unless I am inundated with content like after Blade Show. So I will still be prioritizing things that people send me. I want to make that clear. Right now, I have 3 amazing Balisongs that I need to make follow-up videos on and talk about. And even some old stuff that I need to dig back through my to-do list and kind of record some old stuff that I promised you guys. But if I don't have any of that stuff, or if there's a day where maybe it's a little slow and I don't really have anything to talk about, I'm not going to force myself to talk about something if I don't want to. And maybe I'll spend that time making something like a main channel video. Maybe not a review, because I want to move away from that stuff. Maybe I'll spend my time thinking about what non-review Balisong content could look like. Again, not a guarantee, but it's something that I would really like to get into. But at the end of the day, my priority remains on this internship, on surviving on my own for pretty much the first time in my life, being financially independent. Mostly financially independent, I should say. So it's gonna be an interesting time, but I will try my best to continue making videos on a semi-regular basis. I just wanted to give you guys an update on everything that's been going on. It's extremely hot in my room. I decided to put a sweatshirt on because I was cold when I started this. I'm now sweating my ass off. Hopefully this gives you guys a little bit of a window into why things have been so weird lately. If there's any questions you guys have that don't pry into the personal side of my life, let me know. I'm not going to be answering things like what I do for work or where I work, for what I hope should be obvious reasons. But yeah, I guess this would also be a good time to mention that I am not going to be replying to every single comment like I've done in the past. I've already been doing it so far. There will be some comments that I try to read all the comments, but replying to all of them or liking all of them like I used to, I'm just not going to do anymore. While, again, I don't want to quit the Balisong hobby, I have realized that I do want a little bit of space. I want to create hours for myself. And while I don't necessarily want to limit myself to only doing it during specific hours of the day, I do want to create a little distance so I'm not just constantly replying to comments or constantly looking at comments or everything like that. So, yeah, I think that covers about everything that I wanted to update you guys on. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for sticking with me. But you know what? I made this channel to fill in the gaps in content until other people could. And I think that's one of the 3 things that I kind of set myself to do on Blade Bias since Ty left. I think we did it. I think there's plenty of other people making content to fill in those gaps. So I no longer see myself as needing to pump stuff out every 2 days. What that means for the future, I'll have to figure out. We'll have to see, but I'll keep you guys updated on the process. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.